When Storms Meet Constellations. Chapter 1. The Weight of Water and Dreams. Part 1. The Storm Learning to Be Still. The alarm screamed at 4:47 a.m., and Lexa was already awake. She'd been staring at the ceiling for the past hour, watching the shadows shift as Miami's pre-dawn light filtered through her apartment blinds. The ocean was 3 blocks away. She could hear it if she listened hard enough, that constant rhythm that matched her heartbeat when everything else felt chaotic. 3 more hours until the pool opens. 2 clients. Then the evening shift at the restaurant. Then home. Then sleep. Then repeat. The routine was supposed to help. That's what all the YouTube videos said. Structure creates peace. Consistency breeds confidence. But Lexa had structure coming out of her ears, and peace felt like a word in a language she'd never quite learned to speak. She rolled out of bed, literally rolled, a fluid motion that ended with her feet on the hardwood floor, body already moving through the motions of her morning. 20 push-ups, 50 sit-ups, stretches that made her spine crack in ways that probably weren't healthy but felt necessary. The apartment was small enough that she could see everything from her bedroom doorway, the kitchen counter covered in cookbooks she'd mastered, the living room with clothes draped over the couch in organized chaos, the bathroom door slightly ajar. Storm blue hair caught the dim light as she passed the mirror. Golden eyes stared back, and for a moment she saw what everyone else saw, the confident woman, the athlete, the one who had it all together. She looked away. The shower was her first piece of peace. Hot water cascaded over her shoulders, and her mind finally went quiet. Not silent, never silent, but quiet enough that the thoughts stopped screaming and started whispering instead. You're going to be late. You're always almost late. Why can't you just wake up earlier? Why can't you just be better at this? She'd learned to let the thoughts flow through her like the water. Acknowledge them. Don't fight them. They were part of the storm. By 5:30 a.m., she was dressed in her blue jacket and athletic gear, hair tied back, ready to face the world like she wasn't drowning in her own intensity. She grabbed her bag, checked twice that she had everything, she always did, and headed out into Miami's humid morning. The walk to the beach was muscle memory. 3 blocks, turn left, cut through the alley where the bodega owner was already setting up. Nod hello without stopping. The ocean appeared like an old friend, vast and endless, and exactly where she left it. Lexa dropped her bag by the rocks and dove in without hesitation. This was her church, her meditation, her rebirth. The water welcomed her like it always did, cool, forgiving, infinite. She swam parallel to the shore, arms cutting through the waves with the precision of someone who'd done this 10,000 times. Her body knew what to do. Her mind finally, shut the hell up. Out here, she wasn't the woman desperate to be perfect. She wasn't the disaster chasing the one who could handle her storm. She wasn't the girl whose mother's voice still whispered you'll never be enough in the quiet moments. Out here, she was just water returning to water. She swam until her lungs burned and her arms ached, until the sun crested the horizon and painted the sky in shades of gold and pink that matched her eyes. Then she floated on her back, staring up at the endless blue, and let herself feel small in the best way possible. One day, she thought, I'll do this professionally. One day, I'll stop being afraid to want things. But today wasn't that day. By 7 a.m., she was showered again, changed into her teaching clothes, and standing at the community pool watching 2 kids splash around in the shallow end while their parents watched from the shade. All right, Lexa called out, her voice carrying that perfect balance of authority and warmth she'd practiced. Let's work on your breathing technique. Remember, exhale underwater, inhale above. Nice and steady. She slipped into the water beside them, and for the next 2 hours, she taught. She corrected form, offered encouragement, made jokes that got them laughing even when they were frustrated. She was good at this. Great at it, even. So why am I still doing it for free? The question haunted her as she packed up, as she waved goodbye to the grateful parents who tried to tip her. She refused, like always, as she headed to the restaurant for her afternoon shift. Because you don't think you're worth paying, her mother's voice supplied helpfully. Because you're still trying to earn love by being useful. Shut up, Lexa muttered under her breath, startling a passing jogger. The restaurant shift blurred by in a haze of orders and small talk and forced smiles. She was good at this too, the performance of being fine, of being the fun coworker everyone liked, of carrying weight she'd never asked for. Her manager kept trying to promote her to shift lead. She kept deflecting. What if I'm not good enough? What if I fail? What if they realize I'm just pretending to have my shit together? By 8 p.m., she was exhausted. Not physically, she could run a marathon right now if someone asked. But emotionally, mentally, spiritually exhausted from being on all day, from holding the storm inside so carefully that no one saw the lightning. She should go home. She should meal prep for tomorrow. She should do the responsible thing. Instead, Lexa found herself walking. Not toward home. Not toward the beach. Just walking. Through the streets of Miami as the city shifted from day to night, past restaurants and shops and the dim glow of apartment windows where other people were living their lives. What am I even doing? The question felt too big for the sidewalk, too heavy for the humid air. She ended up at a small cafe she'd never been to before, drawn by the warm light spilling onto the street and the smell of coffee that promised comfort even though she knew it was a lie. The place was nearly empty, just a couple in the corner and a barista wiping down the counter with the tired efficiency of someone at the end of a long shift. Lexa ordered an iced coffee she didn't need and sat by the window, watching the world pass by, wondering if the one was out there somewhere doing the same thing. Probably not. Probably that person is living their life, happy and whole, while I'm sitting here spiraling at 8 p.m. on a Wednesday because I don't know how to just exist without drowning in my own head. She pulled out her phone, opened her notes app, and stared at the list she'd made months ago. Things I want but am too scared to admit. To swim professionally. To charge what I'm worth. To stop performing and just be. To find someone who stays. To believe I'm enough. Her thumb hovered over the delete button. She couldn't do it. Deleting it felt like giving up, and if there was one thing Lexa refused to do, it was give up. Even if she was exhausted. Even if she was drowning. Even if every day felt like treading water with no shore in sight. She closed the app, drank her coffee, and promised herself tomorrow would be different. It wouldn't be, but the promise helped. Part 2. The Brave Disaster Building Constellations. Alava's alarm didn't go off because she'd forgotten to set it. Again. She woke up at 6:30 a.m. in a panic, black purple hair disaster, blue eyes wide as she scrambled out of bed and immediately tripped over a plushie she'd named Constellation. Sorry, Connie, she muttered, picking up the stuffed star and setting it carefully on her nightstand. Today's already a mess, and it's been 30 seconds. Her apartment was small but functional, paid for with the $50,000 she'd saved over 6 years of cleaning other people's homes, watching their families function or fall apart, learning what love looked like when it worked. The walls were covered in dark posters, horror movies, anime characters, engineering diagrams she didn't fully understand but found beautiful anyway, and her desk was cluttered with her fantasy journal. A random number generator app open on her laptop, and approximately 17 half-empty water bottles. She had a cleaning job at 8 a.m. across town. It was 6:32 a.m. Okay, I can do this. Shower, get dressed, grab my stuff, catch the bus. Easy. Simple. Why am I like this? The shower was quick, too quick, the kind where she forgot if she'd used conditioner and just hoped for the best. She threw on her usual black and purple outfit, considered the maid uniform hanging in her closet, decided against it. She'd change when she got there, and grabbed her cleaning supplies bag. 6:47 a.m. She had 13 minutes to catch the bus. Alava ran. She made it with 2 minutes to spare, collapsing into a seat near the back, breathing hard and already exhausted before her day had even started. The bus rumbled through Los Angeles streets, and she pressed her forehead against the window, watching the city wake up. 7 to 9 people, she thought, like she did every morning. 7 to 9 people who love each other. A constellation. That's the dream. That's what they wanted for me. That's what I'm building. Her phone buzzed. A text from her current client confirming the appointment. Alava replied with a thumbs up emoji and then immediately second-guessed if that was professional enough. It's fine. I'm fine. Everything is fine. Nothing was fine. Everything was terrifying. But she was doing it anyway. The house was beautiful, one of those sprawling LA homes with a perfectly manicured lawn and the kind of windows that probably cost more than her entire year's rent. Alava had cleaned it 3 times now, and each time she'd watched the family who lived there, a married couple, 2 kids, a nanny who looked more stressed than anyone should be. They seemed happy, but Alava had learned to see the cracks. The way the husband barely looked at his wife. The way the kids clung to the nanny instead of their parents. The way love was there, maybe, but buried under exhaustion and routine and the weight of trying to make it all work. I can do better, she thought as she let herself in with the key they'd given her. I will do better. She worked like a demon possessed. That's what her old boss used to say, Alava. When you get in the zone, you're terrifying. It was meant as a compliment. She chose to take it that way. Vacuum, dust, scrub, organize. She moved through the house with methodical precision, humming a song from the anime she'd watched last night, a slice of life that had made her cry even though she'd promised herself she wouldn't. The physical work was meditative. No decisions to make, no future to worry about, just the task in front of her and the satisfaction of seeing chaos transform into order. If I can clean their mess, maybe I can clean my own. By 11 a.m., the house was immaculate. She changed out of her work clothes, left a note for the family, and caught the bus back toward her neighborhood. She should go home. She should eat something healthy. She'd been so good about that lately, working out, meal prepping, taking care of herself, because if I'm going to lead a family of 7 to 9, I need to be at my best. Instead, Alava found herself walking to the junkyard. It was her secret place, her thinking space. A sprawling lot filled with discarded cars, broken appliances, rusted metal sculptures that used to be something useful. She'd been coming here for months, building things from scraps, a lamp, a bookshelf, a weird abstract sculpture that looked like a star if you squinted. She was a disaster, but she could make beautiful things from broken pieces. Metaphor achieved, she thought wryly, grabbing a section of copper wire and some gears from an old clock. For the next 2 hours, she lost herself in creation. Her hands knew what to do even if her brain didn't. She welded, twisted, shaped, until something started to take form, a small mechanical bird, wings spread, frozen mid-flight. "You're free now," she whispered to it, setting it carefully in her bag. Her phone buzzed. Another job, this time an evening gig, someone who needed their apartment deep cleaned before guests arrived tomorrow. Alava accepted immediately. She needed the money. She needed the distraction. She needed to stop thinking about how lonely she was. The afternoon blurred by. Another house, another family to observe, another space to transform from chaos to order. The clients were kind, a young couple who kept apologizing for the mess, even though it wasn't that bad. Alava smiled, reassured them, worked her magic. By 7:30 p.m., she was done. Exhausted. Starving. Her back hurt, her hands were raw, and she was pretty sure she'd forgotten to eat lunch. Again. She should go home. She should order food. She should talk to her plushies and maybe journal about her feelings like that one self-help book suggested. Instead, Alava found herself standing outside a small cafe she'd never been to before, drawn by the warm light and the promise of coffee, even though caffeine at 8 p.m. was objectively a terrible idea. Fate brought me here, she decided. Or exhaustion. Probably exhaustion. But I'm going to call it fate. She stepped inside. Part 3. When the storm meets the constellation. The cafe was quiet, nearly empty except for a woman sitting by the window. Alava noticed her immediately, storm blue hair catching the light, golden eyes staring at her phone with an intensity that seemed at odds with the relaxed posture. She was beautiful in that effortless way some people were, like she wasn't even trying, but still demanded attention. Alava ordered a hot chocolate. She'd switched to something less aggressive at the last second, and was about to sit in the far corner when the woman looked up. Their eyes met, and for a moment, just a moment, the world went very, very still. Lexa saw a young woman with black-purple hair and striking blue eyes, wearing dark clothes and carrying a bag that looked too heavy for someone her size. She looked exhausted but determined, like she'd been fighting a battle only she could see. She looks like she's been drowning too, Lexa thought, and immediately felt ridiculous for projecting. Alava saw a woman who looked like a storm barely contained, like if you got too close you'd either be destroyed or saved, and there was no way to know which until it was too late. She looks like someone who could break me, Alava thought, and immediately wanted to know everything. Is this seat taken? Alava asked, gesturing to the chair across from Lexa even though there were plenty of empty tables. What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I? Lexa blinked, startled. No. Go ahead. Why did I say that? I was about to leave. I was about to go home and spiral in private like a functional adult. Alava sat down, and the silence stretched between them, not uncomfortable, but heavy with potential. Long day? Lexa asked finally, because the woman looked like she'd been through a war. You have no idea, Alava laughed, and it was the kind of laugh that held too much truth. You. Same, Lexa admitted. I teach swimming and work at a restaurant, and sometimes I forget which version of myself I'm supposed to be. Why did I just say that to a stranger? Alava's eyes lit up with something that looked like recognition. I clean houses for a living and build things from junkyard scraps and talk to plushies when I'm alone. So if we're doing the admitting we're disasters thing, I'll match your energy. Lexa laughed, a real laugh, the kind that surprised her. That's actually kind of amazing. It's weird. Weird is underrated. Another silence, but this one felt different. Warmer. Like the universe had shoved them together for a reason neither of them understood yet. I'm Lexa, she said, extending her hand. Alava, the other woman replied, taking it. The handshake lasted a second too long. Neither of them pulled away first. So Alava said, her voice soft and curious. Do you always sit in cafes looking like you're fighting internal battles, or is today special? Lexa snorted. Every day is special when you're an overthinker with commitment issues and a dream you're too scared to chase. Oh good, Alava grinned. I thought I was the only one doing that. They talked. Not about anything important, surface-level stuff, safe topics, the kind of conversation you have with strangers when you're both too tired to perform, but too lonely to leave. Lexa learned that Alava was from LA, that she loved horror movies and anime, that she had a dream she described as impossible, but I'm doing it anyway. Alava learned that Lexa was from Miami, that she swam every morning like her life depended on it, that she wanted to do it professionally, but was terrified to fail. Why don't you? Alava asked. Lexa stared at her. Why don't I what? Go professional. You clearly love it. You're clearly good at it. So, what's stopping you? The question hung in the air, sharp and uncomfortable. I don't know if I'm good enough, Lexa admitted quietly. And I don't know how to exist if I'm not perfect. Alava nodded slowly, like she understood that on a molecular level. I get that. I'm trying to build something impossible, and every day I wake up thinking, today's the day I give up. But I don't. Because the dream is the only thing keeping me going. What's the dream? Alava hesitated, looked down at her hot chocolate, decided to be brave. A family, she said simply. A real one. People who love each other like a constellation, connected, bright, impossible to break. I know it sounds crazy. It doesn't, Lexa interrupted. It sounds lonely, but hopeful. Alava met her eyes, and something passed between them, an understanding, a recognition, a sense of, oh, you're drowning too. I should go, Alava said reluctantly, checking her phone. Early morning tomorrow. Yeah, Lexa agreed, even though she didn't want her to leave. Me too. They stood, hesitated. This is going to sound weird, Alava said, but can I get your number? I don't have a lot of friends here, and you seem like someone who gets it. Lexa's heart did something complicated. Yeah, okay. They exchanged numbers, smiled awkwardly, left the cafe going opposite directions. Neither of them looked back, but both of them thought about it. That night, Lexa lay in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying the conversation, wondering why a stranger with purple-black hair and exhausted eyes felt like someone she'd been looking for without knowing it. That night, Alava sat on her floor, surrounded by plushies, clutching the mechanical bird she'd built, wondering if fate had finally thrown her a sign she couldn't ignore. Neither of them slept well. Both of them were thinking about the other. And somewhere in the space between Miami and Los Angeles, between the ocean and the junkyard, between the storm and the constellation, something impossible began. End of chapter 1. Author's notes. When the Storm Met the Stars, Sapphic Slow Burn Romance Chapter 1. Story notes. This chapter establishes both characters in their element. Lex's obsessive routine and fear of imperfection, Alava's brave chaos and impossible dream. Their meeting is fate-touched but grounded, two disasters recognizing each other across a cafe. The slow burn begins with understanding, not attraction, though that's simmering underneath. Next chapters can explore their tentative friendship, the pull between them, Lex's resistance to Alava's poem dream, the moment Alava realizes Lexa might be part of her constellation, and the terrifying question, can a storm learn to be still enough to be part of something bigger? The angst will come from Lex's monogamy wound versus Alava's 7 to 9 dream, and whether love can exist between someone who wants the one and someone who wants the many. Content warnings for series: emotional trauma, past abandonment, discussion of parental neglect, polyamory themes, mental health struggles, found family, slow burn romance, possible angst with hopeful ending. Let me know if you want chapter 2. Blue Heart, Purple Heart.